Hello viewers and welcome to a Sunday drive on the crew now. This video's focusing more on the graphical development and the handling development. Obviously you've got wet weather here, again all in development at this stage, but looks way better than it did before. I'm driving a Ferrari 458 Speciale here and just trying to see how I get on. I can't remember what the handling mode is, but I've used a variety of handling modes between sort of normal and hardcore. We've got a drift video that's going to come somewhere, or we should have a drift video somewhere. If not, we'll sort something out. But the drift mode on this build, it wasn't finished for hardcore handling, so any drifting you see from anyone on the videos currently out there is all using assists at the moment. But it still requires some challenge. You know, you quickly need to opposite lock when you get into a, hold that balance, as it were, on the drift. The views extend further now than they did before, but all of what you see is a work in progress. There's still lots and lots and lots to do between now and the launch. But I think first things first to me was, when I was just driving around, was just its handling much better. The crew really depended. I found it was, some cars handled better than others. Some cars were terrible. They were like boats. Other cars were really fun to drive. But I enjoyed it a lot with my wheel and the rig. Personally, I was a big fan of the raid class. I quite like going off-road. I always love the off-road races. And good way to get rid of cops. So the cops were pretty hardcore, it has to be said. I mean, getting away from them was really tough at times. But all I was doing in this video was going for a drive and just sort of exploring. Because lots of people ask you, what's, obviously you can see what it's like visually in terms of improvements, but what's the handling like? And I think the first thing you just want to do is just drive around and see how intuitive it is. I'm using a controller. Obviously, when I get the final game, I'll be testing with my wheel and seeing how it's developed. And as I mentioned in the bike video, to use the bikes, it's highly likely I just need to have my controller plugged into my PC as well, and then that way I can jump from wheel to controller when needs be. But in many respects, as we drive around Las Vegas, I was just sort of looking at the view, looking at the detail now in the buildings, the lighting. You can see a bit more of that in just a moment. But it's just really nice to see how it's evolved, and a shock really. I don't think any of us expected, a graphical overhaul, maybe, but this is quite a radical overhaul of such a huge game, and with the new handling as well, to inject a new life into it. And rather than just say, why don't we just release a sequel and then charge everybody, the fact they've given this to people who already own the crew, I think is a real bonus to Ubisoft and the dev team that they've done that, and it will re-engage excitement in the game. Certainly, just got to play it later this year and just see what improvements there are throughout. I have to say, so far I have enjoyed the driving a lot more. I mean, look at the lighting there. Look at the track surface, the road surface, shall I say? The puddles, the lighting, the reflection on the asphalt, all this sort of detail, and the bloom of the lighting's much better. The detail on these houses, bushes, everything else out the front, they've got a much more weathered feel. I mean, given the scale of the world, it really is impressive to see what they've managed to accomplish so far. So yeah, walking in for this demo was a nice surprise. I think it's always nice when a game sort of surpasses what you were expecting. Just looking for somewhere to go on the map now. Was talking to one of the developers. We weren't going to drive too far from where we were because it's still very much a work in progress. So we were sort of hanging around this sort of southwest area. I thought, well, let's go for the mountains, so we can go there, and then I'll have a bit of a Sunday drive. And that's all this video is. And I'll see what else we've got in terms of content. We certainly do have an extended bike video to come. And again, it'll be a similar thing, just a Sunday drive. The bike video will be a bit more cut as we go through areas that are finished and areas that are not. To show you guys off what they're doing here. Again, we get some nice lighting around this corner. Look at that, really nice lighting. Wow, driving with the wheel is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to when we see the build with the cockpit cams as well. But I have no idea how old this build is at this stage, so any questions on that? There was also an interesting comment about cat physics. You know, it's funny, I hadn't looked into that at the time. I certainly will on a future video for you guys to see if the monster trucks, I don't think the monster trucks have it, but certainly it might depend on the vehicle and type and situation. I don't know about all of that myself, but I'm just working my way around here in the Ferrari, which is handling well. It's a little bit sloppy at high speeds, so the faster it gets, obviously, the more it sort of waves around a little bit, but it's nothing like some of the cars were. If you've played a lot of the crew, you'll know some of the cars do really sort of wave around a bit, and a little bit challenging to control at times, so it's sloppy, but certainly much better. You can see I'm really comfortable with driving it on my first go, so working really well. So what are we looking at then? Great feeling of speed. I'm going off road now. I thought, why not? Let's just go off road. Let's just make my Ferrari dirty for no reason, just because we're exploring. And this is what I like to do. This is what I like about the crew. It's just the total freedom of it. And now with the new visuals, there's just going to be so much to explore. And for those of you who've played it a lot, I think you're going to want to revisit some of those locations, and hopefully there'll be lots more challenges in there and a few new surprises still to come to get everybody involved near the launch, because let's face it, the crew is nothing without the players. It's going to need a big online player base to keep it going and to build future locations. And the US is a great playground, really, because it's such a huge country. It has so many different environments. Going through the gates, the car was waving around a lot. I just wasn't quite able to tip it in, so I actually found this gate challenge a little bit more difficult than usual. Quite challenging. I'd had to have slowed down a bit to have hit all those gates, because it does become a bit more imprecise as you get up to speed. But if you have questions, do whack them into the comments. Subscribe, support what we do, and I'll attempt to answer as many of those as I can in our upcoming videos. Loads of coverage of all the different games at Gamescom. I'm going to park up now, look for somewhere to park up here, and then I'm going to change to the bikes, and I'll be a bike Ducati in the next video. I think it's Ducati Monster, something like that in the next video. But that's it from me. More soon.